People that are joining in, they're gonna join in, but let me get this started so we all can go and do our own thing. So, starting March 1st, there's a real estate agent like FinCEN report that's being done for any person conducting business as an LLC, right? We're gonna go into what FinCEN is. We're gonna go into what it requires, who does what, and basically the fees and what our job is. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I don't always see the chat because it's hidden in the top as you see, but feel free to interrupt me, to ask me questions, and just to unmute yourself. So, what is the FinCEN real estate report? Real estate report is a new federal anti-money laundering report filed in the United States with the United States Treasury. So for certain residential real estate transfers starting in 2026, it is not a public record, and clients can be done as little as 5 minutes with new closing tasks. So it just says 5 minutes, but let's have in mind that if we're dealing with an LLC or corporation or trust, and the LLC is owned by other LLCs, it'll ask all that information, but we'll go through it so you're better knowledged when your client asks. So, when is the report required? So, let's say you have a buyer, they're buying a property, it's a residential property. They're buying it as an LLC, corporation, partnership, trust, any entity that's not the personal, and they're using cash, hard money, or private lending. So that triggers the report, okay? The attorney is the one that fills it out and then sends out the report to the client's email, okay? So very important, if you already have a client that you know, hey, Stephanie LLC is purchasing a home and the home is with cash, hard money, Stephanie will be getting a link to complete this form. Let's have in mind, I just had somebody do a land. We're purchasing a land. They're purchasing it as an LLC, and they're purchasing LLC and with cash because they can build a residential property on that land. They have to fill out the form. Okay, so let's have in mind that it can be turned into something else. The form is going to be required to pay for the form at the end. It's going to be $175. Okay, so your client pays that. The only thing is that you need to have a conversation with your client to let them know to have all their paperwork, everything on like the back burner right next to it, because when you do that, the faster you do it, the faster then you're going to be clear to close. And then the faster your attorney gets it, and then you can move forward. What client must provide to closing agent or when you're filling out this form? So if you're an entity, you need to have the entity legal name, the address, and your EIN number. If you're an individual with a 25% ownership, you're going to be required to be in this form. Usually, we would just put Stephanie LLC is purchasing 102 Main Street, right? What happens now is that the form is going to ask you, okay, but is Stephanie the only owner? How many owners does this LLC have? If the LLC is owner with another LLC or a corporation or an umbrella, it'll want all that information, okay? So basically it's doing what a traditional bank does. They want to verify the funds. They want to make sure that the funds are coming in clean, right? There's no money laundering. That's basically what it's trying to do. So if you have a trust, an estate or something that's buying a property, so the trust name, the date executed, all trustees, grantors. And again, this goes a little bit deeper into knowing what a trust is and what a trust, the members of a trust, beneficiaries who can actually demand money out of that trust. There's certain stuff that goes into it. Sorry. For each individual, they're going to ask for the legal name, date of birth, home address. They want the social security number, the ITIN. They want the government ID. So this form, you actually have to take like either a picture or you're going to have to upload your ID to it. Let me just make sure people don't keep asking me questions and I'm not seeing it. Okay. What about the sellers? So sellers are not necessarily going to be with this form, but sellers might be asked for basic information, including their taxpayer ID. I've had a lot of people and other agents call me, oh, but is my seller going to have to pay extra taxes? Your seller's already paying taxes. There's nothing additional to that. Okay. So let's just make sure when you're having conversations with your buyers, it's just a normal reporting. It's something being added, right? A lot of people want to buy with cash. But realistically, you're not going to tell your client, oh, they're going to be looking at this and comparing what you reported in your last tax statement and asking why you have like $200,000 to buy a house. So it's just the knowledge that you need. We're trying to make our clients feel comfortable. We're trying to make our clients kind of like be ready for these things because there are going to be a lot of questions in the form. Now, very important, and how to protect your client's EMD. So this is a federal thing. It doesn't just apply in Connecticut and Massachusetts. It's in all 50 states. So when you're writing an offer, if again you're doing a residential or land, you're doing an LLC entity or and cash or hard money, in your additional terms or other conditions, I put like two different contracts there. You need to write subject to parties complying with FinCEN reporting requirements. Why is this important? Because you already have your inspection contingencies, right? If your inspection isn't done on time, you send an extension. You have your mortgage contingency. If mortgage is being delayed, you send an extension as well, right? Let's say you don't do that, the seller can require you to keep your EMD. So it's not saying that nobody's going to be denied purchasing a home. But let's say the FinCEN reporting requirement, something happens with it and it wants to have an extension or something happens, then your client's EMD, your client's money is secure. Okay? Because when you're buying with cash, let's be realistic. We're not giving them $5,000 now and $500,000 at closing. We're doing like $20,000 in EMD or 50. So when that happens, you want to make sure that you're putting the correct verbiage in your conditions. That way, if something happens, then that money can be returned. No, on the listing, you don't. So Doris asked, how do we secure the sale if we are the listing agent? Is there anything we need to put on the listing side? You do not. You just have to know that your buyer agent should have knowledge that this FinCEN reporting will be done. So a week prior, 2 weeks prior, you could always follow up with your buyer agent. Hey, just following up. Is everything good? Or with your attorney, really? Massachusetts, you'd be straight with your attorney. You really have like an attorney, like hard presence there. But you can always follow up with the attorney. Hey, do you know if the FinCEN reporting came back? Is everything good? Are we clear to close? This is mostly for buyers. And I don't want listing agents or sellers to be scared to accept these offers because there's still very strong offers to like buy cash. This is just kind of like the reporting. So regular bank mortgages do this. That's why you have mortgage contingency. They ask you for your bank statements. They want to verify the income. They want to verify gifts. So basically, this is what's being done, but for cash. Let me go back to here. Okay, closing agents, talking points. So in your mind, if it's an LLC or a trust, buyer plus no bank mortgage usually means FinCEN report. So in your mind, it should already click. Hey, I have a buyer. He's an LLC. This is cash, hard money. We're buying residential Immediate FinCEN. Let's say you're buying a 4+ unit residential and your buyer doesn't want to do the FinCEN report. You can always say it's a commercial. Just have in mind that then it's not going to be a residential sale. It's going to be a commercial sale. You can always tell your client it is a routine compliance. Fast response prevents delays. So make sure your client looks at his emails. Make sure the attorney, I just had the attorney send me an email. I already submitted for that link to be sent out. So the attorney tells me when she submitted the requirement. So I should already be telling my buyer, hey, this is coming soon. We don't want this to be sitting there for 3-5 days. It's going to delay the closing. I guarantee you. If privacy is a goal, do not promise anonymity. I can't say that word. Tell clients to speak with the attorney because it will ask them all the information. And we all have clients here that have an LLC within an LLC and an LLC, trying to hide somebody back there. So let's just try to be clear. Personal name, entity or trust, bank, mortgage or cash, private financing. If an entity or a trust plus no bank mortgage, tell the client to expect a secure compliance form and to prepare ownership, ID, and payment source detail. So last thing to remember, and I don't know if anybody else has been asking a question. Last class, it was question galore. Okay, so last thing to remember, the new real estate reporting rule is residential property. It can be land to build a residential property. Let's have that in mind. No finance, so it's all cash, hard money, private lending, and it's an entity. So the three of them have to be together for it to actually do the reporting, okay? I can be Stephanie LLC, and I can be buying a residential property. But if I'm getting a mortgage, I do not apply. I don't get the reporting because then my bank is actually asking all that for me, okay? Do we have questions? Concerns? Doubts? Oh, there's a question. Single residential, yes. So if it's a single residential, cash, and it's an LLC or a trust, any type of entity, then yes. Yes, it applies. Good question. Anything else? I have sent emails with the correct verbiage, okay? So with this, subject to parties complying with FinCEN reporting requirements, okay? Because you want your EMD back if something goes wrong. If for some reason the FinCEN denies it, okay? I asked our attorney if that's possible. She said, obviously this is new, but if it in the regulation, it already says this, it could happen that they deny the closing or they deny something until they get more information. Okay? No? You let me know, because if not, this is the end of my presentation. This is quick to the point. But you can always text me. You can call me. I had people text me. Let me see a couple questions I had last time. So we can all clear it up from here because somebody might have questions. Let me see. No, not here. Some of them text me like everywhere, so yeah, somebody asked me if it was only CT. I said no, it's statewide. They want the notarized articles of incorporation. Again, if you don't know much about businesses, always talk to your attorney. But articles of incorporation, not every company has that. It all depends of how many members you have, how many owners or agents, and then it divides it. So if you're a member in a company and it's less than 25%, No worries, you don't even have to be in this report. Um, if it's agricultural land, you don't need to worry about this. Usually you can't build any residential there. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it.